Road to the Breeders' Cup continues 9 days away from the big dance. Yes, it is Wednesday morning, October the 23rd. This is your Breeders' Cup update. First off, let's take a look at workouts yesterday at Santa Anita, and a couple of horses laid it down. First off, in the Juvenile Fillies, it was Bast going 5 furlongs in company workout and galloped out past the wire. Bast, of course, the daughter of Uncle Mo, dominating victory, a couple of races back, and then earned a hard-fought victory in her most recent race. And, Bass is kind of interesting. The big draw-away victory in the Del Mar Debutante, and then came back in the Chandelier Stakes and kind of, I'm not saying she regressed, just had a hard-fought victory. I really think her competition just kind of stepped up in that race and comical. And I think actually it was an overall nice win. That was opening weekend at Santa Anita. The track played a little bit slow, and it kind of was a demanding surface, and they may not have had Bass completely cranked up for that race. I thought it was a good workout yesterday on Tuesday. I think they'll have her sharp. Still starting to think British Idiom and Wicked Whisper are two really nice horses. And that Juvenile Fillies with Bast, Wicked Whisper, and British Idiom, I think the three of them are going to vie for the top 3 contenders, and I will be really surprised if anybody other than any one of those 3 horses win that race. That is a good race, very competitive, and we'll see what shakes out in the Juvenile Fillies. Pre-entries are going to be announced today, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, so we'll have an update on that tomorrow. Remember, hit subscribe and ring that bell for notifications as we lead you up to the Breeders' Cup. Another strong workout yesterday for McKinzie. He went 7 furlongs, as with the workout last week. Not as impressed as I was with some of his works earlier this year, but he will be in shape. He is definitely getting his demanding workouts in. I just don't like the way that he's being asked a little bit and kind of scrubbed along in the stretch, and you're not seeing the usual natural gallop out. They're kind of urging on the gallop out. So, McKinzie, I can say that he's probably not peaking coming into this race, but you got to remember, he did win the Whitney by 3 lengths. 2 biggest questions: he's 0 for 3 on the new Santa Anita surface, losing in the Big Cap in the wintertime, losing in the Awesome again, and then also losing to Battle of Midway last February. So does he like the new surface? It's a lot more sandier, a lot more deeper. And then also, he's 2 for 6 on the year. At some point, that record does start to weigh in, and his most recent race was a loss to Mongolian Groom. Again, McKinzie, he dominated the Whitney Stakes, but that was at 1.125 miles. Ran a strong raise in the Shiva, but that was at 1.16 miles at Churchill Downs. So can he run a 104 to 105 speed figure at 1.25 miles? That's the question you've got to ask McKinzie at the price. Meanwhile, the third big workout yesterday, Mitole threw it down. It looks like the $2 million Breeders' Cup Sprint is going to be Mitole's next scheduled start, and that's one of the big 7. I always give a higher preference to the big 7, the original 7 races. That's what the Breeders' Cup was meant for, to determine the champions in those 7 divisions. Over the years, we've watered it down with other races. It's great from a betting standpoint. It's great from a 2-day event, but the original theory on the Breeders' Cup was to create the championship races, so I think Mitole doing the right thing. Double the purse, and if he wins the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and if he can beat the Pocket Rocket Imperial Hint and a couple of other main contenders, I think that'll really stamp himself and give him a chance at that Horse of Year championship, and definitely the Sprint championship still on the line, because Imperial Hint with 2 Grade 1 wins, and also, Promises Fulfilled not going to be going, but still a 10-horse field. Breeders' Cup Distaff, it looks like right now we're looking at a 10-horse field and 4 horses from the Zenyatta, along with the Midnight Pursuit, who's 7 for 7 on the year. A nice workout on Monday for Midnight Pursuit, and, I think that workout really stamped out. She's going to be 3 to 5 in this spot, and really, if she runs her race, she's probably going to win. I'm really looking at that as one potential race that I may want to take a swing at. Remember, if you're looking at this from a gambling standpoint, you have to take a couple of swings, which means you have to bet against a couple of these favorites over the course of the 2 days. The juvenile races are a little bit more of a grab bag. Right now, I think 8 Rings is going to be favored in the Juveniles, maybe Dennis Moment. Going to be very close. I'm leaning Dennis's Moment probably as the favorite, but 8 Rings definitely could be the favorite. So big day for nominations. Who do you like in the Breeders' Cup Distaff? Are you going to key on Midnight Pursue, or are you going to try to bet against her and make a little bit of money with those big favorites? Sometimes you get a second or third favorite or a long shot to win, and the daily double and pick 3 prices go up exponentially. Or is McKinzie going to be your lean to kind of close out the weekend at probably a price of about 3-1, maybe 7-2? I think McKinzie, some of these other horses are going to start to take a lot of chatter here in the next 10 days. Horses like Yoshida, Vino Rosso, Mongolian Groom. What about Higher Power? Can he go back to that big victory in the Pacific Classic? So lots to digest. Let's see the pre-entries today. A few of these horses will be cross-entered, and then they'll make their final decisions in the next few days. But, I'm thinking we're only going to see a couple of races oversubscribed. The juvenile turf races will probably oversubscribe, but the juvenile fillies and the juvenile race will probably only be 10-horse fields. The sprint looking like a 10-horse field. Breeders' Cup Distaff looking like a 10-horse field. And the Classic, now it looks like we're going to be at 11 horses for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Don't forget, subscribe. We'll lead you up to the Breeders' Cup. Ring that bell for notifications. Just 9 days away from the Breeders' Cup now. And we close it all down with the Breeders' Cup Classic in 2019. Nominations announced later on today, and we'll recap all the nominations and set you up for a few of the turf races tomorrow as we lead you up to Breeders' Cup 2019.